And we are going live.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Okay, thank you. Could we start with our roll call, Suzanne?
Sure. So Elise Lipnick is excused. Alan Jacobitz? Billy Larson?
Is present.
Okay. David Haber?
Here.
John Hughes?
Here.
John Deming?
Here.
Julie Lutke?
Here.
Linda Schellenberg and Lisa. Let's see. Linda Schellenberg is excused. Lisa Haynes? Here. Mel Fuller?
Excused.
And Nancy Ross. Let's see. Rebecca Smith. Sandy Kinney.
I'm here.
Okay. Did I miss anybody? Nope. I think that's it.
Fantastic, thank you. Do we have any introductions or announcements today?
We do. We have two guests with us today. We have Melissa Kidd from Chariots, and we also have Lisa Carrion, and they are both with us, and they will be speaking shortly.
Fantastic, welcome. Any other announcements from the commission before we move right into the agenda? All right, easy. So are there any additions or changes we need to make to the agenda as written today that you received in email? Okay, if there's no changes, is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
That was Sandy.
And John, did you do second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And so all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, easy. And so we also got a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. Are there any changes we need to make to the official minutes as written? Okay, if there are no changes, is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed or abstaining? Okay, so passed. All right, so is there, Marilyn, do we have any public comment today?
Yes, I've asked Lisa, Melissa, who is going to be speaking today?
I think we both will. This is Melissa, and I think we're both going to be speaking.
Well, then I'm going to spotlight you, just like I've been doing for the last few minutes, moving you into spotlight, and then they can see you and know who's talking. I invited these lovelies to come and speak about what's going on with transit and give us an update. As many of you know, transportation is high up on our importance list when it comes to an age-friendly community. And we're just really eager to hear, what's going on, how they've done through COVID and all sorts of great things. But how did I lose? There we go. At a spotlight. So there you are, you're live. Here's your time, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marilyn, for the opportunity to speak, and good morning and hello to everyone. My name is Melissa Kidd, and I am the customer service manager here at Chariots. I've been with Chariots for 6 glorious years. Lisa?
Hello.
I'm Lisa Carrion, and I have been with Chariots for 15 years. It's been wonderful. That means I've known Marilyn for 15 years. I can't believe it. Lots of changes. So we are so happy to be here. It's always nice. Chariots is a big, big fan of the Center 50 Plus. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful thing that you provide to our community. So we're grateful to be invited.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're going to get started and just talk a little bit about what Chariots is doing right now. All services are free at this time. We don't have an estimated time of fare collection yet, and when we know, we will surely let you know. But what the executive team here at Chariots has committed to is that we'll at least give a 30-day notice to our writers and to the community saying, hey, we're going to be starting fares in at least 30 days, if not more. So when we know when we'll charge a fare, again, we'll let you know. But it is fare free right now. So that's all of our transportation services. We do have a number of safety policies to address the pandemic in place. We are operating with limited seating due to physical distancing requirements. Chariots is meeting the governor's order for the frequency of bus sanitation. Physical distancing is strongly enforced. Seats are blocked off on each bus and rider limits are in place. Riders must board through the back door unless they need the ramp. And if a person needs the ramp, they need only walk to the front of the bus and the door will open and they can request the ramp and they are welcome to get on in the front of the bus. The back of the bus does not have a ramp, and that's why we must board in the front of the bus if we need the ramp. And the priority seating is open. So individuals who need the priority seating at the front of the bus, it is open and available. Approved face coverings are required on all Chariots property, and this is very, very new actually from the CDC. So that includes our buses, our transit centers, and even our bus shelters. So this is a federal mask mandate that has been in place, and the CDC has put out the narrative on it. So you must wear a mask of some sort, so that bandanas, scarves are no longer acceptable according to this federal mask mandate, and that is even outside. So that was definitely new for our riders. When it used to be they could be out on our transit center, and as long as they were maintaining 6 feet of distance, they didn't have to wear their mask until they got on the bus, and that is no longer true anymore. And then, of course, we have chariots.org with a whole bunch of information and updates all the time. But Chariots has joined over 200 other transit agencies across the nation in the American Public Transportation Association's Health and Safety Commitments Program. And really what that is we are communicating, we are sanitizing these buses and meeting federal and state guidelines for that. We are ensuring that people are keeping their distance on the buses by marking off seats that are not available so that we can keep that 6 feet of distance. So we're really just communicating, and then we request, Chariots request that, of course, our riders follow the federal mask mandate and appropriately wear the mask when they're on the buses, at the transit center, and even at our bus stops throughout the community, and making sure that the mask is above the nose, not below, and is completely covering. So that's kind of what we mean by joining the other transit agencies and making sure that we're clearly communicating what we're doing and what we request of our riders. So Chariots has detoured Route 13 to provide direct service to the Marion County Vaccination Clinic at the Oregon State Fairgrounds. Route 40X and 45, which are in the Independence, Monmouth, Dallas area, provide service to WU, Western Oregon University, where Polk County vaccinations are being distributed. So we do have direct service with Route 13 here in the Salem-Keizer area, and with Route 40X and 45 in the Polk County area to the vaccination clinic, which is very, very exciting. So those are for our fixed routes. We also have for Chariots Lyft, which is for individuals who cannot functionally access Chariots Local, and there's an application process for that. But if a person qualifies for Chariots Lyft, we have a designated drop-off at the vaccination clinic. So that is what we're doing for those that are eligible for Chariots Lyft. And then our Chariots Shop and Ride has a limited capacity on the dial-a-ride portion. One must be 60 or older or have a disability to access this transportation service, but that is another way that individuals could potentially get to the vaccination clinic. I think I'm going to pass it over to Lisa now to talk about the very, very exciting travel training program that Chariots has that she's been doing for 15 years, and it's a glorious opportunity. And then that way you don't have to listen to me speak anymore.
Thank you, Melissa. That was a lot of great information. And for sure, if you have a question that you're afraid you're going to forget, definitely feel free to ask right now too, or we can take it. I'm not going to speak for very long, just a minute or so. So my program, the travel training program, which has been around for just over 15 years, is, I just want to make sure to say this, is free. I always forget, and everybody loves free and free. It is a free transportation program we offer to teach people how to travel on our Chariots local buses. I'm sure you guys have noticed them going by the center all the time, as well as our regional service, which serves our rural areas. So Mount Angel, Woodburn, Silverton, up the canyon, Staten, Sublimity, all of those towns in between, and then out to Polk County. And that program is pretty flexible because it's totally based on what that individual needs. And generally, it looks like me having a conversation. Generally, somebody just calls and says, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit more about how to take transit. I'm just a little bit nervous, or I have no idea. I've never used it. I'm not familiar with the city. And generally, we have a nice conversation, and then we make a time to meet. And I usually go to that person's home if they're comfortable with that. And of course, we ride from the nearest bus stop near at their home, and then to wherever they're interested in going, because it's really, that's the point, is where do you need to go, where do you want to go, using the bus. And so we practice taking those trips and learning how to read schedules and planning trips, really whatever it is that that person needs in order to feel confident using public transportation. So right now, of course, with the pandemic, it's a little bit different. We have not been doing that in-person training, though I still really love it when people call and inquire, because usually I can answer quite a few questions about their trip and is it even feasible and right now or for them. We can still do kind of route planning and how does that look. We can still work on using the transit app and to plan trips, or just good old looking at a paper schedule. Or we can, of course, wait till we do get back to in-person training, which of course, I can't wait to do. And hopefully it will be sooner than later, but we'll just have to wait to see what's going on in our community to make sure it's safe to return to that. And I think that's really it, but really it's just a phone call from a person. I mean, sometimes it's from an agency for a person. Sometimes it's a child of, a parent for a child. So it's a really pretty flexible and open, and most the conversation that I have with the person is where we get most of the information and see what it is that they're interested in doing and what it is I can do to help them achieve their goal. All right, I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
So for the getting to the COVID, maybe I missed it. How do they schedule that ride?
Okay, so for Chariots Local, which is Route 13, it's just our regular schedule with the detour in there. So you don't have to worry about scheduling a ride. If you get on Route 13, it will get there. And then for the Chariots Lyft, if you are eligible, you've gone through the 3-step application process, had your interview and all that fun stuff, then you just call the call center and schedule your trip. just like normal, the address of where you're going and what time, and then when you plan on leaving and what time. And then for the Chariot shop and ride, for the dial-a-ride portion, again, if you're 60 or older or an individual with disability, you would also call the call center and then press the queue for the shop and ride and schedule your ride in that way.
And is that a 3-step application process as well for the dial-a-ride?
That is not. That's actually a self-qualifying. So if the individual is 60 or older and or with a disability and they would like to access the dial-a-ride, you would just call the call center and schedule the trip. There is limited capacity on that. We cannot guarantee on that transportation service, but you could always give it a try and call.
Great. Any other questions from the group?
Yeah, I had one. You mentioned the transit app. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And since we're typically talking about older adults who maybe don't use apps, I heard you can call the call center, but is there also old-fashioned paper available for the folks that might want to use that?
Hi, John.
Okay, Lisa. Yeah,
Go ahead,
I'm excited to talk, but yeah.
It's nice to see you, John. Yes, there is still, I'm a big fan of old-fashioned paper for sure. I think it's imperative that people know how to read a good old-fashioned paper schedule. But of course, we do have our schedules on our website, chariots.org. And the transit app is something that's kind of like a third party. So basically, transit apps are common, of course, for all transit, people using transit agencies. And it basically, it locates you using your cell phone, because there's GPS. I mean, we can be found anywhere, right? And it tells you, once you've downloaded this app, what the nearest routes are to where you are standing, when the next buses come. If you're hoping to just jump on a bus right then. If you're thinking about planning a trip, it has an option, just sort of like good old MapQuest or whatever those things. That was probably our first experience using something to plan, or buying plane tickets, right, online. It's sort of similar. You just put in your where you're starting from and where you want to go and what time you want to arrive or leave, and then it just pops up some options for you to choose from. Or for any new user, I still think that giving our customer service department a call to ask for that same kind of information and tell them what you're looking for. And if you have any kind of special needs, like I really only can walk a couple blocks, or I need to make sure that it's an accessible bus stop because I use a power chair. And where do I pull the cord when I want to get off? Of course, these are things that I could help with too, but our customer service department is available for longer hours, Monday through Saturday, when we operate our service here in Salem and Kaiser. And so they are wonderful and a wealth of information and can answer all those kinds of questions. And then we do not, for our Lyft service, that is just give that 503-315-5544 phone number to our reservation center to schedule those rides. So those are still good old use your phone and give them a call to schedule the Lyft rides. So the origin to destination kind of transportation.
And then I wanted to say that Lisa, myself, and then Chariots IT actually came to the Center for 50 Plus, and we gave a couple of classes on the transit app and Google Maps and looking at a brochure. It was such a wonderful opportunity. And all the reason why we bought our IT department is because we couldn't figure out how to display it up on the wall because it was really easy. We could all figure out our phone, but to display it up there so that we could do it in a presentation form, that's why Chariots IT came, because I'm not technologically forward for sure. Anyway, it was such a great opportunity. We had like 10 individuals that was so cool. We were in the classroom up there, and then we did this great little introduction to the transit app and then the route brochures, and then we utilized the bus together and we did a little field trip, and then we came back to the Center 50 Plus a couple of times. That was a great opportunity that Marilyn afforded us, as well as her team.
Well, and I think, adding on to that, I think people are going to be warmer to that idea when we open back up. I think that this has been the test run of people realizing the hesitation to use their smartphones, which they do carry, but they may not use the full capacity. They may be more open to that. I was going to say, I think one other piece of the travel training that I think is so important is when someone is making the decision to no longer drive, there's almost like the opportunity for almost a counseling session of, these are the key places I need to go. How do I still get to go there? And don't you work with them on that, Lisa, and help them figure that out so there's less anxiety over giving up their license or reducing their travel use of their car and things? What do you think on that?
Because it's so important to stay kind of as independent as possible. Everybody values that, right? To whatever level that is for each of us as an individual. And people kind of get nervous and think that they need to be a master of using the entire bus system, right? And you really don't. You just need to know how to get from your particular house and start with just a couple, 2, 3, 1 even place that you need to take. And then most people, we have a pretty friendly system here in Salem and Kaiser. And so once people get down that trip and feel really comfortable, I generally find that they will master other trips on their own. But some people do just call me back and say, hey, I'd like to go here. Can we do this one? And that's totally fine, because it's not a one-time thing when I work with somebody at all. It's rarely one time, unless a person really decides this just isn't working for me right now. But honestly, usually I go out multiple times with people. That's completely normal. It's totally normal for people to call back and say, hey, I have another trip that I want to learn how to take. And I enjoy that, right? It's fun. It's great to meet somebody. You're hanging out on the bus, you're chatting, you're getting to know each other or whatever. So it's great. I love it. That's why I've been doing it for 15 years.
Anyone else on the commission have anything they'd like to ask? You know, travel has been a huge conversation for us. And one of the workshops I took a couple of months ago, it was helping people recognize that it's not always drive today, stop driving tomorrow, but maybe it's a transition. It's, okay, I'm no longer going to drive at night, and here's some things I can do. Or that one clear out east or south Kubler makes me, it's very crowded during the noon hour. Maybe it's a bus ride for that. So maybe in time in advance of needing full-time bus usage, recognizing the value of it and testing it and working on it. So it's a transition. So I think that's my new language when we open back up is, transition, try, prepare. The new thing is prepare, because we found none of us prepared right for anything. So anything else on the commission? Because I'd love to hear from you. That many of you have voiced concerns with mobility and getting people around the community. Here's your chance. Here's the 2 faces highlighted on my
I don't have a concern about the mobility issue. I just want to know how well the whole transit system is being utilized right now. Are people using the transit system?
Yes, thank you for that question. People are utilizing Chariots to get around for sure. When we first started in the pandemic, we were essential trips only, and what essential was defined by work, doctor's office, grocery store. And so really our numbers were very, very low, but we as an organization were putting that on ourselves, right? We were saying we need to get the essential people trips. We need to support that, but we shouldn't be supporting people going to recreational. And to be quite honest, recreational opportunities were not even available at the very beginning. We have since transitioned to limited seating. So we do have capacity constraints on our buses right now. For sure. And usually that's not a problem. Every once in a while, that's a problem, but usually it's not a problem for us to be able to keep within those capacity constraints of our vehicles. We were previously getting around 12,000 trips per day. We're about at 6,000. So we are about half Right now, or the last time I looked at the numbers, we are about half right now. But again, Chariots is doing that to ourselves. We are saying that we want people to get to essential trips, and we do have limited capacity because we are going to follow the governor's guidelines of social distancing, the physical distancing requirements, as well as making sure we're sanitizing as much, if not more, than is actually required. So that's where we're at right now with ridership.
Thank you.
Is it possible for you to make available your list of notes that you shared earlier, just so I can update? I work with Northwest Senior Disability Services and ADRC, and so just curious if we can make sure we're most up to date with those, especially as we communicate with folks we refer to your programs, the expectation, especially with the new CDC federal guidelines and such, it would be helpful to have it. It was a nice little package that you communicated. So if you can share that out with the meeting minutes or what have you, that'd be excellent.
Absolutely, we will absolutely get that to you. And also we attend the Northwest Senior Disability Services every other month meeting. And so those talking points are there. And also, yes, I will absolutely send the talking points to, who should that be? Would that be you?
Well,
Marilyn?
you can send them to Cass, it's fine. Cassandra Hutchinson is fine.
But also you could send it to me.
Yeah, I
to
think
me
that'd
and
be
I'll-
useful to everyone.
Yeah, and then Suzanne can send that out. She'll include it in her notes. That'd be great.
Perfect. Yep. I will definitely get them to Marilyn, and then Cassie has them, but we will definitely make sure everyone has them, because this is what we want everyone to know, right? Exactly, Julie, what you said. It'd be helpful for everyone to have. So thank you for that, and I absolutely will.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you both for being here. That's always really good, interesting information to know. We appreciate that. If there's no other questions or comments for Salem Kaiser Transit, we have our action item is the letter that we were going to send as a commission to Mayor Bennett.
Yes, and we provided that to you via email. Did everyone have a chance to look at that? I received a few comments over the email. No suggestions, just approvals. So I guess unless we have any corrections from the floor, we can move to accept and forward to Commission Mayor Bennett and the commission.
I have one question.
Yes.
Yes, David.
I like the letter. I think it serves our purpose. But I wonder, the administrator of the Paradise Mobile Home, how will he feel about it? Is a copy of it being sent to him? And since that was the initial impetus.
Right. We are happy to send him a copy. We did not mention Paradise. We decided not to single out one organization and keep it broad, but because he did come to the commission, I'd be happy to send him a follow-up letter and thank him for attending and then provide him a copy.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually. So he knows that we took his concern seriously and we are moving forward with that. I do like the new draft of the letter also. So if there are no other changes or comments or anything we need to do with that, is there a motion to approve this letter as it's written?
I moved.
Make a motion.
So David moved.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Billy. So all those in favor of approving this letter as written to send to Mayor Bennett and Salem City Council, please.
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay, fantastic. This is the letter that we will send out to Mayor Bennett, and hopefully they take our input seriously. Excuse me. So I guess we're moving along to Marilyn, your turn. Your
Very
info.
good. Well, I have a staff team with me today that will be providing much of the report, but let me start my, let's see. Never can move this thing so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, this is March. We are on the 12th of March celebrating 1 year, and I don't mean celebrating, but our 1 year anniversary of beginning of our experience with the pandemic and the closure at Center 50 Plus. And I cannot hardly believe it's been a year. And frankly, I think none of us can. But when we launched into our closure on March 12th, I said to my staff, you know what? 2 weeks, let's see what we're doing. 4 weeks, then 6 weeks. And then I realized, okay, we're going to talk about this again in 6 months. And here we are at a year. And at this time, we are not listed or slated for a full opening, but we do have permissions to start a rollout plan in very limited services. So beginning in June, you're going to see an expansion of some of our small one-on-one activities, our 6 to 8 people classes, things like that. But we just haven't figured out, and I don't think anybody really has, crowds. And that's really what Center 50 Plus is, just really one big crowd, one big group. And how do you feed a congregate meal site with those limitations? How do you run a gym with those limitations? And we have had some phone calls, you know, concerned, why aren't you open? You're a gym. And we want to just, you know, strongly remind people, the gym, the health and fitness center is one program among what we truly are, which is we're a senior center. So we're a gathering place for older adults. And so that's why we're kind of in the hovering over here stage, not quite sure what our future is going to be, or we know we're going to open someday. We just don't know exactly when. But we're proud of the work we're already doing. And, you know, I've talked to my staff just most recently that this has been, in many ways, this time has been a gift. In the gift in terms of being able to move forward activities, program development, strategic thinking that we've dreamt about for many years. But when you're in the middle of operations and you have run with a really small staff and you have big volumes of people and you're producing programs and activities all the time, that strategic long-term planning implementation is very challenging. And then the other is piloting things is risky, and often you don't have the same support to try new and adventurous or creative things, because the answer is usually, well, we don't have money for that. Just keep it the same. You know, that's often what you see in every organization. Well, when you're in an emergency and you are in an unusual circumstance and you are being told, serve people, figure out how to do it differently, that's the opportunity to try some new things. And that's what I celebrate with everybody right now, is just that opportunity, and what we've been able to do with that. So we're going to be doing a few staff updates today. I'm going to begin with Fitness Center Conoy Barth. We'll followed by Bonnie Caddich for lifelong learning. We've got Wendy Kilgore coming up. She carries about 3 positions, so she's going to give us a brief overview on those. I'll hit the outreach services. We'll do a friends update. I want to talk a little bit. I think I just mentioned the building update, that there's really no set kind of plan, but we are revising our rollout plan, so more to come. WOW van updates and our results that came out of the winter weather storm, and then a couple of upcoming council reports that we're preparing. So first I'm going to start with Conoy, and let me see if I can spotlight her. I wonder if can I spotlight while my screen is being shared, or is that not possible? Does anybody know? Any
I'm
experts in
not
the room?
Sure. I know
Well,
I
there-
can't view my notes when we share your screen.
All right, well, there you go. I just spun. Okay. So I have your notes up here on my screen.
Perfect.
You wrote them.
Perfect. All right.
Can you see my screen?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So just kind of kept everybody updated on the services we're still providing, which is our foot care services at this point. Still continuing our Fit and Fun packets and our online fitness class subscription. We are pumping it up a notch to be able to have our instructors call and check in again with all of our members. And we were kind of excited because this month we got the opportunity, Marilyn shared with you that piloting new things isn't always an option, but we were able to kind of do a little mini conference. We had 1 hour, we had 3 speakers, and basically we were trying to give everybody a little bit of everything. So each speaker presented their presentation 3 times. It's about a 10 to 15 minute presentation. And the reviews we've got are pretty great. People enjoyed the idea of being able to be in one spot, hear 3 different things, just touching on a little bit of everything. And so I think it's something that we will probably continue to do in the future. The other thing that we are offering still, and normally I used to do healthy living lectures, and they would just be in the form of having somebody present or just in written form. I'd put it in our Northwest Senior News, but now we're turning them into Zoom meetings. So our next upcoming Zoom lecture, Healthy Living Lecture, is about maintaining a healthy gut. It's really been an opportunity, not only for us as staff to try new things out with technology and things like that, but even our volunteers. One of our volunteers is actually a registered dietitian, and she is going to be leading this lecture. She didn't have much of an idea on how to use Zoom prior to this, and she has just really grown in her own skills and learning how to use PowerPoint and things she probably wouldn't have done had we not had this experience during the pandemic. So I'm excited to offer our Maintaining a Healthy Gut. In April, we will also be doing our Breathing Basics lecture again, where our certified yoga instructor will be taking you through different breathing exercises and giving you some great information. So yeah, so far we've had a lot of fun. Another big thing that's coming up, I'm not sure if Marilyn will touch a little bit more on it later, but we are doing the annual Healthy Brain Conference. We're excited to do that in April. We've got 3 great speakers that will be presenting all different things on nutrition in the brain, balance in the brain, and then the benefits of music in the brain. So you'll be seeing a lot of information being promoted in the next month or 2. And that's it.
Kanoy, please, I just wanted you to kind of touch on what your annual report are going to be this year, and I put them on the screen.
Perfect. So basically, this is a little different for us. Normally, my annual report will kind of brag about all of the numbers of all the members we have and do little surveys and stuff. But this time, what we did was we focused on our successes not being in the building and all the outreach that we're doing from home, from the center. So things like our monthly Healthy Living Zoom lectures, the biweekly Fit and Fun packs, the online fitness class subscription. We're getting a lot of folks joining on to that. We're still continuing our daily 5-minute fitness videos on Facebook. And then of course, our outreach with our fitness staff. So I think what we kind of reorganized our thoughts in this was that we are their cheerleaders. We are going to continue to promote living healthy, eating healthy, staying active, even in a time where things are a little uncertain. So, yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Kanoy? I think one of the critical pieces, and as we go through our report today, is, our annual report typically is basically a document of statistics. And this year, it's really forced us to think less in terms of just numbers and more about the why. Why do we exist? Why are we here? And what is the impact on the life? And that's a different tracking tool than the city's used to. You know, if you look at the budget book or the reports you receive from the city, it's primarily how many miles of streets were paved, how many sidewalks were repaired, how many, and for us, and how many people come to the building, how many classes were offered, how many volunteer hours. Well, although those are good numbers to track and it's so important, this year we have had the opportunity to just really work the why. And I think it's going to be impactful for council, but also educational. And we're going to have to work really hard to turn our update, you know, primarily anecdotal information into something they can still value. And that is the hardest piece in our work, is getting people to recognize others' stories and putting a value on that. So more to come on that. But any questions for Kanoy? Thanks, Kanoy.
Thank you.
So next we have Lifelong Learning Coordinator, Bonnie Caddich.
Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna wait to see if Marilyn can get me on our.
I just
there.
added you.
We can be together, sure. As you can see here, for the month of February, it was really nice to be able to kind of take a pause. And we felt that I kind of needed to do that in order to kind of look at spring and what lifelong learning classes I wanted to offer. And we had some new instructors come in, and they kind of needed to take some time to learn our new virtual platform of Zoom. So I just am so proud of 2 instructors coming in for the programming in spring. It's a history instructor, Doug Kroll, and Lynn Harris, a new arts and craft instructor. She taught bread making when we were open, and she has adjusted her ability to learn new things. And she's going to bring in a series of polymer clay classes. And so I was able to, for the month of February, just take on some new instructors, and they are so enthusiastic and excited to be Zooming. And as you can see here, talking about some new instructors, Marilyn is able to have some of our student interns provide a couple of classes. Today, we're going to be doing the rookie watercolor painting. And these interns were able to receive money for supplies. And yesterday, I drove out their supply kits to about 9 students. And so they'll be attending a class here with us this afternoon at 1 o'clock. And again, I wanted to touch on something that Marilyn and Kanoy spoke about early on before I would forget about it, and that it's our new way of thinking during this time of pandemic for me has been the question of how can we help? Like Marilyn said, things are just so different, the way we need to look at things. But my main focus is, how can we help the community? How can I help my students? How can I help my instructors that still want to continue on and teach? And so with that, I think it's been a wonderful time for us to kind of pause. So I also want to mention the second flyer is next Tuesday. And if you're interested in that class, there's still space available. And again, you will receive the floral supplies for this class. So
Bonnie, can I add on the rookie watercolor class today? Actually, 4 of our students they are in a skilled care facility, And so the activity director is going to set up her phone for Zoom, and then the other students are going, the seniors, she's picked a couple of with her, are going to sit and do that project with us. So it's just one more way that we're reaching and combating loneliness and isolation by these different ways that we can work with our partners. You're not done, Bonnie. I have another screen for you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you put that one up. I really wanted to, again, share that, you know, not just partners, but we're moving out into the community and trying to tie in with things that they can offer. And so we have the Sealy of the Valley secretary of this society coming in with us on Friday, next Friday, not this Friday, but the following, to do a wonderful soda bread class. And again, they too are so appreciative that we are getting together with them and sharing some time with our patrons. So again, just trying to think, how can we help our community as well in lifelong learning?
Okay, now I went ahead and spotlighted what you're working on for our annual council report, and you spotlighted Mr. Bishop, and I wanted you to talk about Mr. Bishop.
Yes. Mr. Bishop is very, very, very special and dear to me. He, at one time, taught a class here at the center over a year ago, and he taught a class on how to play.
Was it duplicate bridge?
Yes, how to play cribbage.
Cribbage.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
And he was amazing because he is one of my instructors that not only, he didn't do this class for himself and for what he wanted to aspire to kind of check something off on his bucket list. He did it in terms of how can I, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Someone just was, okay. They didn't, yeah.
Didn't want to miss out on a question. He taught this class again from the perspective of a student, and what would they need? What materials can I put together so that they truly understood this class? He even included a segment about the history of cribbage. So, so he to me is one of the best instructors that we've had. There he is. There's a picture of Ron. And this, with the annual report, I wanted to share a little bit about him. Ron took it to the next degree by attending 3 Zoom classes that I offered during the pandemic. And it ranged from our train depot class and the history of Salem class, and he even attended our Let's Talk Travel Hawaii class. And here we have a quote from him that I'm going to read. When we asked him, what do you think about the world of Zoom? He said, yes, indeed, the world has not actually shrunk in size, but with Zoom, you can visit family, grandchildren, and friends face to face, from in your home to theirs, anywhere in the world. I have the joy of regularly chatting with my twin brother in Minnesota. And because I have a good friend that lives in Germany, I recently visited his English language congregation meeting in Germany via Zoom. So Ron is a perfect example of what we've been able to do with our patrons. And we have been doing it in a way where it's just so amazing. We are benefiting and so are they.
Any questions of Bonnie?
I don't know that this is a question specifically, but I would love to maybe chat with you offline on how to get some of these programs into more of the senior living communities in the area. Marilyn, I hope it's okay that I asked it that way.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Bonnie, I was just looking at those classes you have coming up today and next week with our interns, and I think that's such a neat opportunity for them. How do people have the supplies? Did you, when you email them, you tell them what they need to have, or?
No, Marilyn, with the interns this year, they were able to receive, is it a grant?
The interns wrote their own grants for supplies.
Wow.
The supplies, put them in packets, and then the WOW van via Bonnie delivered them.
Wow, that's awesome.
And this group, like Marilyn was saying, not only from our assisted living community, but these are students that we don't see them, and we haven't seen them in the center. They're new to us. So it's been a great connection to some new students for us.
Anyone else? Thanks, Bonnie. All right, next up, Respite Coordinator, Caregiver Support, and Interim Food Box Coordinator, Wendy Kilgore.
Well, hi. So when you put it that way, Marilyn, it looks like I'm doing a lot, huh?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So I'll start with Respite. Actually, I'm going to start with Respite first. For the month of February, I continued with the emails, and I was doing them twice a week, which now I've decided to kind of step down, and we're just going to do them once a week now. Respite is also, the people that I'm keeping in touch with are probably about 8 people left from, I believe I had 30 people in Respite when I first started. So
that's okay. I think we just are gonna,
ignore that.
I'm gonna mute it.
Okay.
There we go.
So I continue to send the same activities, the recipes, music, videos, and word puzzles. I am working on the adult foster home program, and I'm working on a flyer right now. I think I have it just about done. I've been making phone calls to adult foster homes, and I'm not getting any responses, which is understandable. I'm using my cell phone, so I understand answering, phone numbers that you don't recognize.
Wendy, what will that program look like? What are you calling them for?
Well, I'm calling them to, let me back up. What my goal is to bring activities into the adult foster homes in hopes that they would recognize the importance of a respite and getting clients to come into the respite program. So that's the goal of this program. And I mean, if it works out, I think that would also be a great new program that that respite can add to the program and move another program into the adult foster homes if it takes off and if it's something that's needed out there. So we'll see. This is new, so I'm just kind of trying to figure out if this is going to work or not. So I know Marilyn had talked about, at the beginning that we have these new programs, and this is just our opportunity to see what's going to work and what's not. So I'll have more information next month. I'm hoping the flyer will help. I'll actually go to the adult foster homes since they're not returning the phone calls, and I'll hand them the flyer and introduce myself, see if that works better.
One of the things through the course of the years is we've gotten feedback from foster homes how challenging it is to bring people to program, whether it's transportation or just, they have 5 people living there and there's the one manager, and this desire to expand and do better with their activity, bringing in an outside person to provide a new face to bring in these new programs and activities where that manager can be doing something else and get a break and get that hour of structured activity. And we're kind of just trying to address some of the requests and barriers that have been presented to us in the past. So with this time, we're trying we're looking at how that can work. So
Yes. Yes.
and Wendy's this willing, okay, let's try it person. So when I hear that, I'm like, yay, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll give it a try. So, but I think the next step is going to be, I'm going to have to go to their door. I'm just not getting the return phone calls, but I think with the right flyer and meeting me and talking to people face to face about it, I think that I can get in to the adult foster homes. So moving to the food care box program, it has grown to 140 plus seniors. I have 32 volunteers, and I plan on adding about 5 more drivers to try to make the routes a little smaller for people. One of the challenges was to get those return forms back, and I have over half of them back, so I was kind of excited about that. Beginning this month, I'm also going to be working with someone from the Easter Seals program, so I'm excited to get her trained. I'll start with her this week. So that's the food box program. And then I'm excited because I am starting the caregiver support seminars, and my first one's going to be March.
I have it here, just a second. I'm not sure
March
why it's
16th. And, you know, with being in COVID and lockdown, and I have talked to some of our caregivers, and they're having a really hard time. I know Marilyn had gotten a phone call from, I believe, a doctor's office. It said that they were concerned about some of their patients and the caregiver burnout. So I have Karen Lewis from Willamette Valley Hospice. She is going to be doing a seminar, and we're calling that Avoiding Caregiver Burnout. So that's going to be March 16th from noon till 1. I'm excited for this one. So, and then I'll be looking for more. I'm going to build on this. I'm hoping to have one every single month. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
I have tons of them going through my brain, but I think I need to just come down and sit down with you ladies, because there's with the center being closed, now that I've gotten more familiar with the programs that the center is doing, I have all these ideas for how we can get even the facilities and senior living communities more plugged into these programs.
I love that. I think that would be good.
I do too. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Well, some upcoming events. I'll zip through my part pretty quickly here. Corned beef and cabbage and drive-through dinner and online bingo, March 17th. If you bought tickets for last year's March event and you want to transfer it over to this year's event, we're working the deals. So for every ticket you bought last year, you get 2 tickets this year. And we'll get you set up, and when you drive through, you get a new dauber, you get the cards to play 6 games, and thanks to some amazing assisted living and retirement communities, we have some fantastic gift baskets, like woo, actual great prizes. So we're pretty excited. We can't play for cash because of the gambling rules, and our licensing is for in-person managed on-site only. So there you go. It's $10 per person, a fundraiser for Friends of Center 50 plus. We have been doing these drive-through events and the drive-through breakfasts. At our last Friends board meeting, we learned we raised over $6,000 profit from our 3 events. So we're not too bad. We're kind of excited. So we'll keep working and plugging along, and all those funds go to supporting the programs we're currently offering. Let's see. So back up to my top here. I just want to make sure a few things are going to council this week. Well, let's just start with the Friends update. I did give you our upcoming event with the that event. Let's go back to outreach services in our village network. Heidi is not here with us today, but I can touch on that. We are still continuing with the Friendly Caller program, making friendly phone calls. We have a nice group of about a little over 100 people receiving calls from about 40 callers. We also are doing the Friendship Brigade, which is a visitor program at our nursing homes and skilled care facilities and assisted livings. And we are still doing them. We are doing window parades. We had a fantastic one. I should have had a picture of that. We went to Windsong, and everyone, it was on in the Valentine's theme, and people held up signs and love notes, and they even had a dancing unicorn. And we had the dogs, and music was playing, and it was really a good time. Even though we can't do a lot of sit down or face to face, we're still staying connected, and we'll continue to do that. We've expanded that outreach, though. I mentioned the delivery of activities and crafts to our facilities. We are creating right now toolbox kits that will go to all of our community partners that are a part of our Friendship Brigade. They'll receive this activity box, and we'll work with them to bring in crafts and different things, but also volunteer opportunities. Our main focus is helping those that live there feel engaged and connected and with purpose. So we're bringing in not just your standard activities, more how can we help those wonderful people feel that they are connected to the community, but also sending good wishes and doing things for others. So we're working on that outreach. We also are dusting off the Friendship Brigade. I have 2 Easter Seal workers coming to Center 50 Plus beginning on Thursday, and their focus is going to be creating a resource, some fix-it repair service kind of referral source for us, addressing some of the calls that we get in, and then working on how to make those connections and repairs in the future. COVID has really put a damper on our Fix-It Brigade, which was already struggling. So I'm trying to staff that up and get folks in there to help us do some minor home repairs and chore services for people, and more to come on that, but we're definitely dusting that off. Center 50 Plus Village Network, we are officially that name, and we have one village that has joined us, and that's South Salem. And we are very happy, though. We've made some connections with Catholic Community Services, and we are going to launch 3 additional villages in a pilot project and targeting some areas in our community. If you have heard of Fostering Hope, the initiative of the Catholic Community Services, it's basically creating mini pods of people in neighborhoods and infusing them with support and mentorship and services and a healthcare provider, home healthcare provider. Together, it's mainly for children and families. We are going to join those forces and create a senior village parallel to those communities already doing this volunteer, support your neighbor, senior helping senior idea. So we are still going through the policies, procedures, logistics, budget, all the things that happen when you're starting a new program or incorporating a program into your current offerings. I'm pretty excited about the villages, and I'm extremely excited about our age-friendly business certification program. We are creating the curriculum currently. We are going to become the certifier of Salem's businesses as age-friendly businesses. And I spoke recently at a senior networking meeting. Out of that visit, I had 6 businesses reach out to me and say that they would like to be a part of our initial cohort and what it means to be an age-friendly, trained, and blessed business. That all falls kind of under that idea of the villages, because ultimately people that live in a village want to have a listing of businesses and folks that they can reach out to for basic services like plumbers and electricians and landscapers and all the businesses in our community have an opportunity to transition and become age-friendly, meaning focused on serving older adults in a way that is going to meet their particular needs. Because we all know if you do what is good for seniors, you're actually doing what is good for everyone else. So, but we're just going to encourage it through the lens of older adults because that's what we believe in. Many things going on with villages. There's so many moving parts and our outreach services, so many moving parts, but thank goodness I received a grant for $205,000 to help us move this good work forward. And it'll allow me to hire a full-time coordinator and 2 half-time assistants. And it will also allow me to hire a half-time volunteer coordinator to just focus on the volunteer work of outreach services and the villages. So it's exciting because we always have great ideas, but often I don't have the money. Finally, a good idea and the money have collided and it's going to move it forward. The WOW van. Wow. We do, I don't know if I had announced it last time, but we received a new van. So we have 2 vans running. We bought it yesterday. It's getting wrapped next week. And all the neat stuff will be installed. So we'll be running 2 WOW vans, and the goal is to do 4 pop-up WOW visits a week using these vans, and then a van that can go to every village on a regular basis, and then the one-on-ones. The one-on-ones have become particularly important because of the COVID vaccination sign up. Technology continues to be an issue. I know the hospital has now come up with a newest way to register. Seems to be pretty easy. It was easy enough that Friday we were able to go out and schedule several folks for their vaccine on Wednesday, tomorrow. So things are getting easier, but people are still finding technology to be a barrier. The WOW van is positioned to go out and help people with that technology gap. Almost last, but another great news is we know that AARP provided us the funding to purchase laptops or tablets for our lending library. Those will go and be launched by April 1st. They have been ordered, and we have 2 of 2 different kinds for our pilots so that we can evaluate which tool is going to work for us best before we buy 10. And IT from the city of Salem is helping me extensively, not only on the ordering of the equipment, but the whole rollout of this project. And the best news of all is every one of them comes with, when you borrow our tablet, it comes with a hotspot. So it comes with the internet. So that's another barrier that we've been able to overcome. So great news. Winter weather storm results. Frankly, we were a little surprised how ill prepared some of our seniors were for this. People without even a flashlight. And we had one of our coordinators for the village running around providing flashlights and in the storm, in the ice. And so we know that we need to really work hard to get all of our seniors and every one of our village members as we roll out better prepared and have that minimum kit of if we can't get to you for 72 hours, you have this kit. And so we'll be doing some classes and training on that and getting the supplies to create emergency kits for people that may not have the funding to do it. I will tell you, the folks that we were having some of the most challenges with, it was not an income-driven issue. It was just didn't think it would happen to them issue. But the good news is what we have in place with our outreach friendly caller, it worked. Here was a test of how are these connections going? Are they really valuable? Winter weather storm happened. We start telling people, can you check in on your friendly caller or who you deliver food to? And the majority of our folks had already done it on their own, made the call to who they deliver food to or who they make that phone call. So proving that those natural organic relationships that come out of these programs do work. And we want to continue to build on that. Upcoming council reports, March 22nd is my big day. I'm going to be providing City Council our annual report, which is more like how did we respond to COVID this year. And then March 22nd, I need to send to them an information report regarding the receipt of the $150,000 of our big grant and the WOW van, and lay out to them how we're going to be using it and what our goals are. All of these are limited in duration. So these are not permanent positions. They're funded for 18 months with hope that I gather enough data to do more. So a lot here, a lot going on. Weather, winter cleanup. I want to thank those, especially Ann and Alan that are on the line with me today. We went out last weekend and did yard cleanups. We're going to go out again, hopefully this weekend. But for seniors that really have no other option, no insurance, no family, and they're really struggling to get the trees cleared out, we are going to continue to plug away, small team at a time, couple of seniors a week, and help people until we return from the winter weather storm. But we do have some resources, so it doesn't all fall to us, but we have some additional resources in the community we can refer to. I want to say shout out to Rebecca Smith and Salem Electric, making it through that weather storm. And whenever one of our seniors was in a to-do, I'd say, well, go ahead and call them. They have it updated. And they always left feeling better. And I just wanted to say, maybe you might be small, but you are mighty. The response was phenomenal compared to some other things I'm not going to talk about. So thank you, Rebecca Smith.
We are extremely blessed that this is the worst outage we've ever seen in 30 plus years. Nobody's ever seen this. And we were extremely blessed. We had 3 other crews come in and help us. And that's why we were able to get almost everyone back on within 3 or 4 days of being off. So we're extremely, extremely lucky. And I was going to ask you, Marilyn, going back to the WOW van, that we got a correspondence from the city about what their next steps. If Salem seniors are needing assistance, call Center 50 Plus for their WOW van assistance. And I think you've made it when you get that kind of like plug in there. So I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, we are very pleased, and also Marion County included in their resource list this time, and the state of Oregon. So we're feeling pretty good about it. Now we just need to figure out how to, when it becomes so successful, how do we handle it? We're lucky right now. We're just pedaling along, and so I did receive $20,000 in additional funding with the van that we will be hiring a 10 to 15 hour a week person to drive the van and assist us. So thank you. Any questions for me?
Well, I thought that was a lot of really good information, Marilyn. Thank you. Obviously, I was super interested to see how you responded to the outage. I think that not a lot of folks have flashlights, so I'm glad that I would love for us to get in on a project together to see if we can at least put something in a kit like that. So I would love to get involved with that. So
I love it.
And we did you touched on the Friends fundraising too. Is there anything else that we need to add to that?
Friends, if you go to their website at Friends of Center 50 Plus, they have all of their upcoming events, ways to support. You can buy a front yard blast for someone turning 50 for $50. Or you can sponsor or purchase a subscription activity box delivered to your home or to a friend or family member anywhere in the country. If you know someone that is lonely, isolated, or just plain bored, these boxes are fun and they're clever, and I think it makes people feel really special. So it's a great way to spread the love. I know that people are starting to get their vaccines. They're starting to feel a little more comfortable. Our most recent survey that was sent out last week, it has shown improvement, that people are feeling more comfortable and are ready to participate in a variety of activities. But we still have 50% that are saying, nope, not ready. Let's see what the numbers do. So that's a lot of people that we want to continue to support and reach out to.
All right. Well, are there any other commission comments? Anybody else have anything they want to add today before we adjourn? Okay. I suppose we're going to move to adjourn the meeting then.
Anyone going to fight about it?
Move
I'll
to
move.
adjourn.
Was that Julie? Did you say that? Thank
Sure.
you. Is there a second?
And David.
And David. Thank you, David. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Well, fantastic. We'll see everybody next month on April 6th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Aye.
I'll stay on for a few minutes if anybody wants to chat.
Well, Marilyn, I'm going to just send you maybe an email so we can coordinate a time, because I'm just starting to really feel like my brain is tickling with ideas of how we can kind of gel what the center does, a bit more outreach. And even I'd love to chat with you too about what I can do to support getting people signed up for the village's business directory.
Mhm.
I'm out and about in the community representing what I do anyway. So
That's awesome.
So I'll send you a message, see if we can figure out a time.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
Thanks. All right. Well, thanks, David. Good seeing ya.
Thank you. I love attending and learning.
Well, I sure appreciate it. Did you do okay during the storm?
Pretty good. We had some big limbs that just missed the house, thankfully. And, we do pretty well here. Thanks for asking.
Good, good, good. Well, I do just so I really am glad you joined our commission, and I think it's a nice link with the villages, but also just your input and ideas. I'm just glad you came.
Yes, and I'm very excited. I love the connections with the WU interns. I actually provided some supplies to those students to, do projects in the community. And, I just sent a contribution to your friends supporting the 50 Plus Center. So I'm activated and interested in.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And, ways that we can connect, we're completely open on that. I know that we talked about maybe, weren't you considering teaching a class or preparing the curriculum for a class? Is that right?
Yes. So I wrote a textbook, and now I'm making it very user-friendly, very practical for older adults. And I'm even going to finance it. And what I'll need is help with, how to distribute it, how to present it, how to get people to maybe peer lead these kinds of educational seminars on healthy aging. So that's just one of the things that I want to do.
I love that. I think that you could create a platform similar to like, are you familiar with Powerful Tools?
No.
It's it came out of a university. It's a evidence-based class, but the whole point is it's train the trainers. You know, you bring interested parties together, they're trained, and then those trainees go out into the community, and it's mainly for caregiver issues, but I think that a train the trainer model is really effective.
Well, my impetus is my facial palsy. I mean, I love doing the classes, and I just don't feel as confident anymore with some of the limitations I now have. But I do think that there are hopefully people who would like to be trained in healthy aging. I have a pretty broad curriculum, and they can pick and choose, and there's all kinds of ways of doing it, though I would like some help in figuring that out.
Sounds good. Well, consider me on the list. I'd be happy to talk about it with you.
Excellent. And so is Nikki part of the village's team that is being supported?
She is currently, she is over the South Salem, and we are going to be doing someone that's going to coordinate all the village work. And then under that will be a coordinator for each area, a partial coordinator. I know she's looking for full-time work, and right now we don't have the funding for each individual village to have full-time, but I'm encouraging her to apply for our full-time job. Yeah.
And I love your connections with Catholic services and the business community. Those are really excellent ideas. You're just a fountain of good ideas.
Well, ideas, you know how they are. They are many of those. It's the getting it done part that.
Well, seems like you're moving in that direction.
One day at a time. But yes, Nikki, I think she's a wealth of knowledge. We're just trying to kind of interact. It is a challenge taking another staff person from another organization and bringing them all together smoothly. And that's what we're working through, is how do we do that smooth transition? I'm not sure how supported she was over at United Way. So she was kind of running her program independent. And I love that. At the same time, if I'm going to expand it, I want everybody to be somewhat streamlined in our promises to the public. So I'm figuring that out.
Well, it shall unfold, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Oh, thank you. Well, you have a wonderful day. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Okay.
Talk to you again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.